Share to me also that video.
Okay. So you see my screen?
Yes, I can see that.
Okay. So this is UiPath. Okay. So today I'm going to explain you about something called web scraping. Okay. So the web
Okay.
scraping means, so most of the scenarios you actually encounter extracting the data from the table. Okay. Extracting the data from HTML table. I'm hearing some noise from you.
Yeah, I'm going on mute.
Okay. Um, actually, so for today's session, I'll go to Google and then I'll say states in USA. When I say states in USA, um, actually I'm getting all the list of states and territories. See here, you have all this list of states and territories, right? So uh, I'll actually extract all these 50 states and then paste it in an Excel sheet. So that is the total task we are going to do today. So in the real time, actually you will have several use cases where they ask you to actually extract the data from these HTML tables and then do some operations. Maybe they'll be giving some rules, and then you need to either paste the data onto the Excel sheet, or this entire data you click on each and every hyperlink and then do some operation and then go back. So those things you have to do as part of your requirement. So consider, so this is a HTML table, right? You click on HTML table and then see here, this is something about Alabama. Okay, so if you go inside, there is some data. So all I wanted this entire state's data and then their abbreviation and then population, total area. So some of these fields I extract and then I'll paste that in an Excel sheet and save the Excel sheet. So that is the simple use case we are going to work on today. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. So actually, in order to do that, so first we need to open a web browser. Okay. So any automation, any RP automation, the preferred web browser is Internet Explorer. Okay. Unless the customer is asking for either Google Chrome or Firefox, you will be using only Internet Explorer. That is the most preferred browser. Okay. So I'll come copy this one and I'll start a new process. Okay. New process is, um, I'll say web automation. Okay. Okay. So now I'll create a flow chart. When I click on flow, so click on pro activities here. When I say, you see the screen, Deepak?
Yeah, I can see that screen.
Okay. I'm dragging and dropping a flow chart. On the flow chart, I'll say, I'll have a sequence. Okay. So this sequence I'm dragging and dropping. And then so I'll set it as start node. In the start node, in the sequence, I'll have an activity called open browser. Okay, you already know this, right? In the open browser, you can have a URL here. So the best practice is to create a variable here. I'll say var URL, and then here it is string. Just make it as a string. For now, I'll let you know how to actually create different types of variables. See, if you see here, all of these are different types of variables. So for a URL, it should be a string, right? So I'll keep it as a string, and then I'll give this as this one, not this. Um, edge. What is that? Where did we choose that? 1 second. Okay, this one. So I'll copy this one. Okay, so I'll give this in a variable. Okay, so and then this variable, the var URL, I'll give it here. Okay, and then that will open a browser. Let's see if it opens a browser with the same URL. So I'll have a message box. I'll say, okay, you're getting.
Yeah, I'm getting it.
So I'll close the browser here. Okay, I don't have the browser opened. So save this one and then I'll execute this. So as soon as I execute this one, so it has opened the same page, right? Okay. So when I click the message box, it is just closing it. Okay. The next thing is, as soon as the browser opened, I just wanted to extract the data from the HTML table, right?
So if I want to open it in Chrome, so where do we give that actually?
So open browser, actually, um, you have the you have something here, right? Browser type, IE, Firefox and Chrome. You just select the Chrome, okay? And one more
Okay.
thing is, when you are opening the Chrome, so there is something called Chrome extension for UiPath. You need to add that extension to Chrome browser so that it is actually compatible with Chrome. Okay.
Okay.
So now you know how to open a browser and then how to give a URL, how to create a variable, right?
Yeah.
Hello? Yeah,
Yeah.
you open a browser and then you have a variable here. You create a variable. The same variable you can give it here so that it it actually takes the variable value and then it opens the browser. Now I've just
Okay.
removed this one. So right click and then I'll say delete that one. So now all I wanted is I just wanted to extract the data from this table. Okay.
Mhm.
To extract the data from HTML tables, we have an option called data scraping. Okay. You see here. Um, so if you see the icon here, it is giving a data table and then it is actually extracting the data from the web. So that is what the icon suggests. So I click on this one. As soon as I click on that, so it actually is giving a wizard. So it's a very simple process. So this wizard actually identifies the pattern. So once it identifies the pattern, actually it loops through entire HTML table and then gets the data. So okay, so when I say next, It is asking me to indicate the first field. Okay, so when I click on the first field, it says you selected the table cell. Would you like to extract the data from the whole table? No, I don't want to extract the whole table. I'll go and extract only few fields, few columns in the table. I'll say no. So it'll say second element, the second element. Okay, that means when I indicate that two different values on the same column, so it identifies the pattern. So what is the pattern? So while the developer is developing this HTML table, actually he gives column number one, and then row number one, row number two, row number three, row number four. So there will be some HTML tags, right? While developing this website, this HTML table. So that pattern we are actually indicating on the screen so that UiPath identifies that pattern, how the user has coded that. Okay, that is for the first column. The second column is see. As soon as I identify the pattern, uh, indicate the both the column values. See here it has given all the values. Here it has given all the values on that particular column. You understand this?
Yeah, got it.
Okay, next is extracting the correlated data. So actually if I'm extracting the Alabama and I need to extract the state code also, right? So this is the correlated data. So now you need to actually let UiPath know the correlated data of whatever you have selected earlier. So when you say correlated data, so I am indicating the same and next indicating another one. Okay, this is column 2. When I say next, actually, so it has extracted the correlated data. If you see here, all the 50 states and its correlated data is here. Now, I'm going to extract the population and then number of representatives. Okay, so next is extract correlated data. What data I am extracting? Population. Okay, next and then population. This is column 3. Um, and next extract correlated data. Extract this one. Extract this one. If you see the data now, so it is like, so it has extracted all these things. Okay, you see that it has extracted all these things, right? Now there are
But
some gaps in between. Let's see
mm,
what those gaps are. So when I say finish, it is asking if the data is spanning on multiple pages. Okay, I'll say no because it is spanning only one page. So now it has created a sequence wherein you have the attached browser. That means, so it is actually identifying the browser value, and then inside the browser it is identifying the table, extract table. If you click on here, it says Internet Explorer, and then this is very important, the selector. The selector is this Internet Explorer title is list of states and territories, right? List of states and territories. Every time it checks, while executing this one, it checks the title of this Internet Explorer page. If it is this one only, then it will go ahead, otherwise it will not go ahead. Next time, if there is a change in Wikipedia, if they say like it's a list of states and territories of the USA instead of United States, if they say USA, then our automation will not work. Okay, that means it is a static value. Hello,
Yeah, got it.
that means it is a static value. Every time while executing that, it opens a browser, and then it opens that particular link, and then it checks for the title, and then if the title is this one only, then it goes ahead and then extracts the data from the data table. But we that is not that should not be, because these values are prone to change, right? So for example, if the website has some change uh, to list of the states in the United States, instead of that, if they have list of the states in the USA, then our automation will not work. So in order to make our automation work in any case, we need to have we need to remove all the dynamic and then make it static. Okay, so for that I'll say, okay, instead of this I'll give a wildcard character star Wikipedia. Okay, you got it right. Now star Wikipedia means it checks for the title that is ending with Wikipedia.
Okay.
So whatever is before that, it doesn't care. It don't care about that. If the title is ending with Wikipedia, then it just goes ahead. We want that only. Anyway, we are opening the website on a Wikipedia, so it'll always have Wikipedia at the ending. Okay, that is what our assumption is. So that is how you need to modify the selectors. Okay, and then next one is, see here, we have extracted the table, right? Data table. We have extracted the HTML table. This HTML table. In
Mhm.
that, it'll extract the metadata, something called metadata. Metadata is what it'll give an XML where it says how many columns we are extracting. See how many columns we are extracting. We are extracting column 1, column 2, and column 3 and column 4. Four different columns, right? So for the column 1, index is 1. And for column 2 also index is 1. It is also 1, and then index is 12. And this entire thing is called table row. Sorry, here the index is 5, index is 12, index is 1, and index is 1. Let's see. I think this entire thing is called index is 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and then 12. You understand this one?
Yeah, understand.
So how many columns are we extracting? Four columns, right?
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4. For the first two columns, index is 1. And for the next column, it is 2, 3, 4, and then this is 5. Fifth column. 6,
Mhm.
7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and then this is 12th column. That is what is given here. 12th column, index is 12, and the index is 5, index is 1, and then index is 1. Okay,
Mhm.
you can always change this one. So now it gives the data table. You know what the data table is? It is like a um, temporary table. Either you can relate that to a SQL table or DB2 table or an Oracle table. So it's a kind of a temporary table. That temporary table has the rows and then columns. Okay, so we can use that. That will be created when you extract the data from a HTML table. Okay, this HTML table, all this data will be in the data table, and then it can be used temporarily inside your automation. Once your task is done, once the automation is executed, um, the data table will be destroyed. Okay, you understand?
Yeah.
So what I am doing is, now I'll copy this one, and then paste it here. So I'm just copying this one and then pasting it here. So that is how you need to do when you're doing a data scraping. It creates a separate sequence. Once the sequence has created, you can copy and paste it uh, in your automation wherever you want. Okay, now it is opening a browser, it is doing a data scraping, and it is giving a data table. So what is the data table name? Extract data table. So this extract data table has rows and columns. Okay, now I'll display all these rows and columns. So to display rows and columns, we have something called for each row. Okay, otherwise I'll say message box. One second. హలో అవునండి చెప్పండి నేను క్యాష్తో పే చేశానండి ఓకే అండి బాయ్ హలో హలో
Yeah.
So I'm dragging and dropping a message box and I'll see how many rows are there in the table. Okay, so for that, so when you say extract data table dot rows dot count dot toString, you may ask why do you need toString. You understand this one? This data table dot rows dot count. Okay, Deepak?
Yeah. So toString it will tell in alphabets
No,
or.
toString is actually message box. It accepts only string values. So that is where
Okay.
even though this particular syntax extract data table dot rows dot toString, extract data tables dot rows dot count, even though it gives a integer value, we are just converting it to string. Okay.
Okay. Mhm.
Okay. So I'm now actually uh, executing this small automation. Okay. I just
Okay. For this, we don't have to move that into that sequence. This message box.
Hello.
which message box?
I think Jaya is speaking in this.
Hello.
Hi, Auntie.
Yeah, Jaya.
Yeah, I have a question. You said dot column or dot row, right? If you want both columns and row, can I give comma column, or I have to give a separate statement? Data row dot count dot I mean row count you have given, no?
Data table dot rows dot count, right? I have given. Okay.
Yeah. So if I want
So
column also, comma column count, or I have to give one more statement separately.
so columns you already know, right? How many columns you have extracted? Do you want to know the column count?
Yeah.
So you
If
can
we
give
want
that.
to know, okay.
So actually here, I'll have the message box, right? So this message box, then I'm actually concatenating another string. For example, if I have to concatenate plus something like this, and then I'll give plus. This is .NET syntax, okay?
Okay, but
And
then you have to
extra.
give it in within quotes or because this you are not giving quotes, right? So
I gave the code, right?
okay. No, but for the extract data table that goes to count of right? There is no quote.
For that, you don't need a code.
You don't need okay.
So those are variables, right? For variables, you
Yeah.
don't need to have a code. So I'll say extract data table dot columns dot count dot to string. Okay.
But why the two? So for concatenation, you have to put plus and open braces and quotes. So, right?
Yeah. So if you are concatenating two strings, so um, actually you need to have plus symbol. Okay. Otherwise, you
Yeah.
need to have a string operations. Okay. So you need to. So this is a smart way of doing concatenation. Otherwise, you can have this as a string and then have this another string and then so do a concatenation operation and then assign it to a different string. So that means one additional variable we'll have.
Yeah.
Instead of that,
Okay.
because anyway we are displaying in a message box, right? This is for a debugging purpose. You can just simply give that. So this
No,
means
no.
you have a string here, and then you have a null string here, and then you have another string here. So you are just concatenating three strings.
So you can't concatenate two strings like without giving the none.
No, you can't give that.
Okay. Okay. For that, you need to anyway do it assign another variable in the value, right?
I haven't tried it, so I think it is possible. I think it is
Okay.
possible here. So I gave this one. Okay. Now I'll start executing this one. I close this one. I'm executing this. So I just open this one and see. It is 50 and then 4 is the message box 4 is for the number of columns. Okay.
Oh, okay. So it will show as file continuous. There's
Yeah,
no comma or
continuous. So that
anything,
is
right?
where I am.
Okay.
I actually have given one null string just
Okay.
to,
Readability, we can give that.
yeah, just for readability we gave that. Okay. See here, I gave this one, and now, okay, you just open a browser. See 50 and then 4, right?
Yeah. Okay. Okay. What is there?
Okay. Now this particular whatever you have just extracted, I just wanted to populate onto an Excel sheet and then save it. Okay. So to do anything with Excel sheet, you have to have something called Excel application scope. So Excel application scope. Uh, so you'll have the workbook path. Okay. For that, what I do is new. Um,
So this Excel application scope is also under a sequence. So everything you're putting it under a sequence.
yeah. Oh, okay. I did not. I okay. Sorry, I don't have Excel on my machine. That is the problem. I need to install Excel. Okay. So what I do is um, for today. Uh, so I'll say write text file. Then text file is um, text file is new text document. Um, States in the USA. Okay. So I'll rename this one states in the USA .txt. Shift and then copy as path. Here I'll create a variable where text file path string shift copy as path. Click here. So I just pasted it. Okay. Okay. So now path and then text is extract data table. String. Okay. Now we'll see whether the data will be pasted in the text file. Okay. So now I'm just executing this. I'll actually close this browser. We'll see. Okay, so it just executed well, and then so it did not write. 1 second. I think we need to write line by line. So for each data row, extract data table. So then you need to append the line. Append the line. So file path text is row dot item of 0 to string. So let's see it works. So because see for the data table, because we have so many columns, right? So each column is referred as item. So for example, the first column is referred as item of 0. Second column is item of 1, item of 2, item of 3. So if I have 6 columns, it will be item of 0 to item of 5. So that is how you refer to columns. So for each row means you are actually looping through. So in the data table or in the table, you have 100 rows. Every time you loop through each and every row. So first row, it points there. And then if you say row of item of 0 means on the first row, the first column value. If you say row dot item of 1, that means the first row and then the second column value. So like that, it just every time it has only one row on its hand. Like it just points to only one row, and then we do the row operations and then column operations and then move on to the next row. That is what it does. So I am just actually executing this. I'll close this one. So it just completed execution. Let's see what it does. See here, it has written all the 50 states values, right? Do you see here? Hello?
Yeah, we can see.
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay, so in that case, actually, we can actually have another thing. Uh, so row.item.toString, we can actually create a comma separated file. Uh, we'll do concatenation, right? So plus, another plus, we'll have two columns and then give a comma. So that means we are creating a comma separated file. So that will be so row dot item of 1 comma 2 string, and then 2 comma 2 string, and then 3 comma 2 string. There is some error. What is that? Okay, at the end we given something. We don't need this. Okay, now it is done. Now what I do is I'll open this one, remove this, and then save it. The next thing I do is, so as soon as it is done, actually as soon as I open the browser, right, I'll create a value, Control K, where browser. So once this entire process is done, actually in order to close the browser, in order to close the window, you need to invoke the method. I'll say invoke method. So not here. In the invoke method, what is the target of where browser? I'll say close. Okay, you understand this? Hello?
Yeah, sir.
You understand this one? You're actually creating an instance for the browser and then you are invoking a method that is called closing the browser.
Mm.
Jaya, are you here? Are you there? Hello?
Yes, yes, I'm there. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, I'm just executing this. Okay. Just open the browser and it is closed it. Okay. Now we see what is the value in the text. See here, we have all the values, right? Alabama, AL, and then this is the population, and then this is something called a number of representatives. We have all these values. So this is how you extract the data from the HTML table and then paste it either on the notepad or an Excel sheet. So I'll in tomorrow's session I'll explain you. I'll install Excel sheet and I'll explain you how to actually um, how to actually copy this data, entire data table data onto the Excel sheet. Hello?
Okay.
Yes.
So one question, like every time we have to remove the text from this text file and then execute this, or we have to again create an instance for this and clear it off.
Or you can do is, for example, if the job is executing on a daily basis, you can create a new text file and then append the data. Otherwise, if you are using the same Excel sheet, you can actually clear out the data and then do it.
So creating a file now, you manually created the text file, right, in the
We
desktop.
can actually
Like,
we can actually create a text file.
okay.
There are some methods. There are some activities for creating a files. See, so when you say create file and then create directory, so you can create a file.
Okay.
Okay, so everything we have an activity. So all we need to do is we need to configure that, and then we need to write small snippets of the .NET code, VB.NET code.
Okay.
Okay. So any questions till now?
No.
No.
Okay. So tomorrow I'll explain you about how to read the data from the same data table and then post it onto Excel sheet.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Okay.
So can you share the recordings to us today?
I'll share the recording. Okay.
Okay. All right.
Send me your email IDs. I'll share the Excel sheet. This recording.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you all. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.